በዛሬው ፕሮግራማችን ካለፈው የቀጠለውን ስለ ወርልድ ኤድስ ዴይ በሁለተኛ ክፍል ያዘጋጀነውን እንቀጥላለን። በዚሁ አጋጣሚ በዚህ ስቱዲዮ ውስጥ በመገኘት ሁለት እንግዶችን ይዘን በጉዳዩ በተለይ በወርልድ ኤድስ ዴይ የነበረው ነውና ለወደፊቱም ምን አይነት ጥረቶች እንደምናደርግ እንግዲህ ከክብር እንግዶቻችን ጋር ውይይት እናደርጋለን። እንግዲህ መልካም ቆይታ። We have two guests today in our studio. The first one is Penzi Amani, and of course Mr. Solomon from last program. We have been working actually on HIV/AIDS for the last few years, and I'm glad both of you are in our studio.
Thank you.
Okay, can you tell me, just introduce me, your name and what you do currently?
My name is Penzi Amani, like it was already stated. I am from Nairobi, Kenya, but I live here in Seattle, Washington. I am a musician. I write and I sing music, gospel music to be precise, and also I volunteer and work with organizations such as ARTH, with whom we are creating awareness for HIV and AIDS. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Solomon Berhe, living around Seattle area for many years and doing a lot of HIV/AIDS reach out, and also have done some work with arts before, and here we are again and have a discussion following the World Days event. Again we're gonna have a discussion about HIV/AIDS and the importance of early testing.
Okay. Yeah, this is the second part of our program about World AIDS Day, and let's start. Why World AIDS Day is, and also the statistics that shows in the current public health data. That is, especially East Africa. In Africa community, I think the first one is Ethiopians, which is 44%, and the second one is Kenyan.
Yes.
So this is very alarming for our community. And how do you see it?
I think the issue is mostly the issue among Africans is that a lot of times we do not talk about this, and I'm very grateful that you are giving us the opportunity to talk about the disease on air, so that people can actually know that this is not a joke. Just because they're not seeing it on billboards, it is in fact an issue. We shared some data, public health data, of which I noticed that there is such a it's like an influx of new infections that have been happening from 2011 to 2013, and we still do not have the statistics for 2014, but for all we know is that it has continued to rise because there are many individuals that had not been tested that are now going out to get tested. So I think as much as it is alarming that the rates are going higher, I also think it's a good thing, because then that means that people are getting tested now. They were not being tested before. These are probably people who had it for a long time, but now it's just now getting caught. So it is sad though, because these are my community, my countrymen, and also looking at the age groups, HIV/AIDS new infections are actually they're higher among the middle age and the younger generation. So between the ages of 20 and 40, that is where most of the new infections are being found, which is people who are they still have a long life to live, and so to have such a to have the virus found in them, it handicaps their mind because they think they're going to die.
Starting from ourselves, our friends, if we do that, I think we have done our part. That's the only way we will be able to really control the spread and extend the support for the one who's HIV positive. Once you really get tested, and if you're going to live your life on hide, lead a secrecy life, it's not really it's not the best way. Time and again for giving us this platform. This is really a good service for our community at large.
It is hard to discuss about the issue after 30 years for 30 or more years after HIV was first diagnosed. Why the statistics show currently, and instead of decreasing the data, we see it, in the higher level.
Like I said before, first of all, we don't talk about it. Just the fact that you're talking about it, there's a stigma that comes around. I personally, I'm not HIV positive, I'm HIV negative. However, I have family members who have passed away from the disease. So I have seen my mother and my father having to take care of siblings that are dying. I witnessed hospice care in my own home. However, when I come out and I talk about something like this, there's a part of me that at the back of my mind that knows that there is someone who will look at me and decide that, oh, Penzi must be HIV positive, that's why she's talking about it. And, now we need to be afraid of her, Maybe I was checking out some guy and now they decide, oh, no, I don't want this girl anymore because, she is HIV positive, So the stigma is huge. And also the lack of education, of not really understanding the benefit of being tested and knowing discovery of the virus with you is very important, because then that means you're able to control how it affects your life. Who have passed away. People do not really have the education, so I have seen it all comes down to my mother and my father having to take care of siblings that are dying. I witnessed hospice care in my own home. However, when I come out and I talk about something like this, there's a part of me that at the back of my mind that knows that there is someone who will look at me and decide that, oh, Penzi must be HIV positive, that's why she's talking about it. And now we need to be afraid of her, Maybe I was checking out some guy and now they decide, oh no, I don't want this girl anymore because, she is HIV positive.
Religion. Those are really a killer. In many ways, they do good things, but when it comes to about HIV, they're really hurting us, because our phased, organization like mosque church, they don't even want to get near close talking about HIV/AIDS. So it's just really shame. Yes, the problem start getting taken care in Africa by getting the faith-based people. They've done a tremendous work. In contrary, here in America, we're not doing it. Mm-hmm. So yes, we had a discussion. Some of the church groups, they came and they acknowledged there is a shortcoming on their part. We hope that will change starting 2015. So the reason why we really push about early testing is, for example, by the time when I know my HIV was at the last stage. It was not actually HIV, it was AIDS. That's what happened. You have it, you don't get tested. You are really kind of really minimizing your survival chance and the suffering to go with it. So I don't want anybody to go through that.
I'm glad that we have a panel discussion about 10 days ago about HIV/AIDS and World AIDS Day. And after that, actually, after we showed, on our TV program, I got a call from different people, really, just about it, about creating awareness. Not only that, but a number of people, also parents especially, came to our studio and they just testified that even their kids are in HIV/AIDS, and they will be a part of this program. I hope we can also create, in Somalia and Kenya. Mm-hmm. I know some people from Kenya. If we create a kind of, just a group focusing on HIV/AIDS, I think, and if we just outreach more, hope we can at least minimize, the issue. So, how is your community on this?
I do know that there is that, like I said before, there's that cultural stigma that is still present, because it's a scary thing. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy pill to swallow. It's not something we talk about often. We assume that every person is negative, but in truth, in facts, there is a lot of undiagnosed HIV individuals that are living in our communities, as is every other community. So, I think we are still at a place where there is a need to talk about it a lot. There is a need to not be afraid to mention sex. He mentioned faith-based communities, and it just, I'm a Christian. Personally, I'm a Christian. My music is gospel music, and one thing I have noticed in our churches is that we never want to talk about sex. We never want to talk about it. It's not an honorable thing to talk about, yet it is indeed something that is very alive and active in our homes. You know, our parents obviously had to do it for us to be here. You know, our teenagers are doing it in schools. If they're not doing it, like if there's no the usual way that you expect it, they are performing other forms of sex, oral sex, sexting. We've seen very many documentaries that are talking about how to curb your child from, you know, the perils that come with internet. So sex is a topic that really needs to be talked about. That's all I
mean, you're absolutely right. This is the thing, is any community who really thinks that family, sex is something that not something not talked about, we should not be talking about, is really putting your family and for that matter community in danger. So it is present. It's not like our kids don't do it. The statistics shows. So it's really should be encouraged, you know, as information, because it's just a fact of life. The reason, going back, my disclosure, yes, I could have just really hide my status and continue to live my life, but I really felt like not only about HIV, AIDS, just about in anything, we're not really culturally open. So my way of giving for my community was, if I really drop this big bombshell, like talk about sex, HIV, AIDS. When you talk about HIV, AIDS, sex, it's scary. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. More so for our community. It's not easy for the other community as well also, but they have, over the years, they have really gotten better. The one who really talked about in open and extended the support, they have seen the result. But the one, they just close the door, don't want to talk about it, he sees the infection
is skyrocketing.
Yeah. So then learning from that. So it's okay to talk about HIV AIDS. It's just about health. It is something everybody does. You know, if you're not doing it and not talking about it, you know, they kind of don't go together. So as a faith-based can really play a big role. And one thing that I mentioned, when I really find myself tested for HIV positive, I really felt I became the dirtiest person. Because growing up, just to really mention in our culture, actually we don't even really call it sex. I think sex is just much easier. Think about what we call it in our language. You know, like we call it balagesera. You know what I mean? You just think that when that happened to you, you kind of really associate with that on some kind of curse. So still people have that on their mind.
Okay, the other thing is, I'm not sure about the Kenyan community, but East Africans in Seattle is really a large number. Ethiopians just by itself about 40,000 people in Seattle. I think that's what the statistic shows. I see of course Somali and Eritreans, but I don't see visibility from Kenya. Do you have the number? How much?
I don't have the exact number of how many Kenyans are living in the Seattle, King County area, but obviously, given the ratings of the statistics of the HIV infections, obviously they have to be a very large number of Kenyans living in Seattle for us to have such a huge influx of newly diagnosed infections. But we do have a very large population of Kenyans living in the Seattle area, Kent area, Federal Way. We have Tacoma. Tacoma has a huge number of Kenyans there too.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because when you see the statistics in here, you know, Ethiopian is on the top. You know,
right.
You just see 34%, and next comes Kenya,
which is 95.
Yeah, 95, and then Zambia, then Eritrea, then Zimbabwe and Somali. So when you see the population, really, you know, Ethiopians and Kenyans are on the top list.
I think my concern is not even really on the numbers because, like you said, we really do not have the exact statistics of. I mean, if we're looking at 40,000 people and only 244 people got,
Still, yeah.
yeah, it's a very small margin compared to that. But like my concern is the age group because I'm looking at the statistics here and it looks like the highest number of it's the male. No, let's move up a little bit. Maybe you'll show this later. I'm not sure if you'll be able to show this later. Yes, that is what I wanted to show. It shows that, back in 2010, it looks like the margin, the African American, we only had 98 new diagnoses, and then we had 72 Africans living in the Seattle, King County area. Only 72 people had been diagnosed. But then come 2012 going into 2013, it's like the tide changed, and we had 92 Americans and 97 Africans who got diagnosed. So there is a turn. How do we move from 72 to 97? Let's keep going down on that as we continue talking about that. And we're looking at the age brackets that are highly affected. And the age brackets that are on this graph, it's 40 to 49-year-olds. That's the highest. But then the 30 to 39s also are creeping up. And you have the 20 to 29s that are coming up. The below 20, most of them were probably born with the virus. So, sometimes we tend not to look at them much. But I'm looking at those that probably were born without the virus, and it is out of cognitive decisions that were made that they put themselves in a compromising position and actually got affected by the disease. So it's very sad.
It is, yeah.
It is very sad. And look at it. Look at the margins. Men between the age of 40 to 49 and are the highest. And when it comes to women, it's women between the ages of 30 and 39. So our culture does not usually accommodate, older women interacting sexually with younger men. Mostly, not all, mostly it's the other way around. It's the older man who is interacting, and it's usually a 10-year to 15-year gap difference between the sexual interactions. And when you look at this, it actually makes sense because a man who's 49 years old is getting with a woman who's probably 32, and they get the virus. You see, so it tells you that these are sexually active people that are getting the disease. It's not so much people who have been born with it, but people who are getting it as adults, because of cognitive decisions that they're making.
It is very helpful to really create awareness and talk about it.
It's very important, and also it's important to go into our culture and find out what are some of the behaviors, some of the mental frames of mind. Are people faithful in their marriages? Are they living in monogamous relationships, as opposed to, I am with you, but I'm going to sleep with so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. And especially in the younger generation, there's a lot of frivolity when it comes to sex. They'll go to the club and they'll pick up some random, and in my culture we call it chips funga. That means French fries. You just pack them up and take them home, So you just pick up some random from the club, and you decide that this is the person that I'm going to sleep with tonight. And sometimes you're not very careful. When you're in your drunken state, a condom will break. In your drunken state, you'll forget to put on the condom. The other thing would be, I personally am an advocate of celibacy. Until you're married, maintain the trust between the two of you. Trust yourself, maintain trust towards yourself, and just wait until you're married to this person. And when you're married to this person, if I was able to discipline myself as a single person and not have sex before marriage, even when I had a friend, a boyfriend or a fiance, then in the time of marriage, it will be possible for me to discipline myself even then, to stay faithful to this one person. It's just a sense of discipline. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a very important point that we really have to
Yeah.
keep pounding on.
All right.
Hey, amen.
Okay, I think a very good prevention and testing is very important. And the other thing is, I think we're going to continue discussion, especially for the new year. We will have a focus group, and also we will have a
Panel discussion.
town hall meeting. We're going to invite also doctors and nurses who are also involved, just to bring everybody together and create awareness in our community. I think that's very important, because this data is very alarming, and
Yes.
it's good to do something for our community, especially for our young people. Really, we have to stop HIV. It's after 30 years still it is like new in our community. And the other thing, Pansy, celebration at Langston Hughes, and you did a song dedicated
Yes.
for World AIDS Day. So I would like to record this, especially for our program, just to do that. Are you willing to do that?
Sure.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you very much. We're going to end. Any message here?
Yeah, about this, it's good enough that we are encouraging people to go get tested. It's good enough that we are telling them, on the importance of early testing or early diagnosis of the virus. However, I just wanted to let our viewers know that there are facilities that are enabling you to get all this information. Like I mentioned earlier, I am volunteering with ARTH, which is African American Reach and Teach Health Ministry, which is being headed by the executive director. Her name is Reverend Mary Diggs Hobson. And go to www.aarth.org, and there you will find all the information that you need, as far as directing you to testing sites, as far as giving you information on how to live healthy, live better if you are diagnosed with the virus. It's not the end of the world if you have the virus. You still can live a full life. You still can live a fulfilling life, a happy life. And there are new inventions that are coming out that are even making it possible for individuals who have HIV/AIDS to get a partner who is even negative, and being able to get children. There are all kinds of means to be able to live a full life. It's not the end of the world, but it is important for you to go and get tested so that you're able to extend your chance of living this full life for yourself.
And
All right.
that's it. I mean, I could not say it any better.
Yeah.
Let that be the last word.
Thank you, Pansy. Thank you, Solomon, for coming and talk about the HIV/AIDS. እሺ ተመልካቾቻችን እንግዲህ ውይይቱን ካለፈው ፕሮግራማችን የቀጠልነው ሲሆን በዚህ ስታቲስቲክስ እንግዲህ እንደሚያሳየው ትልቅ አዌርነስ እንደሚያስፈልግና ውይይቱ በተለይ በፌዝ ቤዝድ ወይም ደግሞ በቸርቾችን በሞስክም እንዲሁም በኮሚኒቲ ዙሪያ እንግዲህ አቶ ሰለሞን ፈቃደኛ ነው እየዞረ ለማስተማር በተለይ ጃንዋሪና ፌብሩዋሪና አካባቢ ይሄን ትኩረት አድርገን እንሰራለን ብለናል። በዚሁ እንግዲህ ትብብራችሁ እንዳይለየን በዚህ አጋጣሚ እንጠይቃለን። እንግዲህ በዛሬው ፕሮግራማችን ያቀረብነውን እዚህ ላይ እንደመድማለን።
In these trying times, yes, we're moving in to a crucial time. We're in need of a power from above to keep us strong within. Indeed, we are in need, though it's hard for each one of us to admit, but we're scared within. Confidence we need in this fight, because in us we have a will. As we tread the path, we're gonna win, despite what this narrow path has. Through the storms, the passing seas, yes, we will come out feeling great. never give up, never give in. Faith is all we need to fight, and we're gonna win. So we have come for too long to give up now. Now we're about to cross the finish line, and this time we'll sing so much of God's word. If you move with me, I'm sure you'll see. As I reminisce on this few years, I see great choice. I also see success ahead, because in us we have a will. As we tread the path, we're gonna win, despite what this narrow path has. Through the storms, the passing seas, yes, we will come out feeling great. Never give up, never give in. Faith is what we need to fight, and we're gonna win. As we tread the path, we're gonna win, despite what this narrow path has. Through the storms, the passing seas, yes, we will come out feeling great. Never give up, never give in. Faith is all we need to fight, and we're gonna win. As we tread the path, we're gonna win, despite what this narrow path has. Through the storms, the passing seas, yes, we will come out feeling great. Never give up, never give in. Faith is all we need to fight, and we're gonna win. See, nothing is impossible with God. We're gonna win. As long as we have the will to fight, we're gonna win. Oh, we're gonna win. Yeah. Thank you. So we have come for too long to give up now. Now we're about to cross the finish line, and this time we've seen so much of God's word. If you move with me, I'm sure you'll see. As we reminisce on this few years, see, I see great choice. I also see success ahead, because in us we have a will. As we tread the path, we're gonna win.